Alright, this morning we're going to be going over the basics of how to do splicing on some wiring. We've been seeing some small issues with the splicing that happens for like your pumps and everything, for a lift station, the floats and all that. So we're going to go over and do a quick tutorial of how to properly splice wires together. As you can see here, we got the wires here. These are probably not the exact same wires that you're gonna see for a pump or anything like that. You're gonna have the wires that have a bunch of the little strands. What I like to do on those, if it's not a solid piece of copper like this, is take it and you twist them together so that you have a nice, good, solid piece. Then in your splice kit that they give you, you wanna go in, find a good connector piece that fits the wire properly and has a nice, you don't have a lot of play in there. It fits right in there so that when you go to push it all together, it's a nice, easy, snug fit on the wire. Put it on the metal piece, push it all the way in and bend it down. And try not to overpower your wire cutters here. But as you can see, it's on there pretty well now. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that I see guys doing that we are no longer going to be doing is they will essentially put all of their pieces side by side like this, and then try to put your heat shrink over it like that. We don't want to do it that way. That is not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to do a staggered connection to where your pieces will sit staggered like that. That is the best way to do it, so that all your pieces come together in a nice smooth transition from the old wire to the new wire, and it's not got a big, bulge in it looking like it's got some type of cancer or something. Any questions so far? Questions, comments?
You don't put the sleeve of heat shrink on it after you.
It's a great point.
Yeah, because if you have the back end wires connected, you know, the wheel slide on there.
You do want to make sure you put your sleeves on there.
I found that it's better to use some flathead clamps to squeeze on it. and not the hard wire, it doesn't squeeze it just good enough for it to hold it in there sometimes.
That's what I was having a problem with.
It's better to use one of them big flat real cranks.
Turn my gas back on. You don't want to put the flame right on it. No need for that. You just want the heat to get over to it. And it will do the rest for you. Until you get really good with your flame control, I don't even recommend you using a torch like this. I recommend using a heat gun. I would say a lighter.
Little torch lights like you use for a
Yeah, a
grill.
little torch lighter, something smaller. Don't really. You gotta get really good with your flame control, with your mag gas and stuff. And see, you don't do a direct flame on it. Move it around, keep it moving so it heats up the whole piece. As you can see, our piece is together. You always want to come and check the sides of it and look on the insides there to make sure you've got a nice connection and it's sealed down on it all the way. And then as you can see, they're going to be staggered. So you move your first piece over. That piece may be a little too big, so on this next one we'll try a smaller one.
The one that goes over it, I mean, out of it. Is it over? What the lamb's phone is that? For real, what the hell just happened?
That's a nice tight seal. That's what you want it to look like. Alright, so this is actually going to be great. This is what you want it to look like, where it gets so shrunk down on it, you can literally still see potentially, you know, where your connecting is in there. It almost looks like it's one flush wire going through here. This is what you do not want it to look like, where you still have openings here on the side and everything, even after it's shrunk down. Now, once you have your wires heat shrunk together like this, you don't want to just leave it like this. Even though this is now properly repaired and everything, and you will have a good connection, you know, from your old wire to your new wire, you want to give this still some more strength, because if it's a float in a lift station, you just got to understand it's going to be dealing with, you know, it's going to be underwater. It's going to have a lot of, you know, weight just hanging on it at all times. It's going to be getting pulled against always. So the more strength that you have to hold it all back together, the better. Just go through. You gotta keep it moving, otherwise you'll get like what you see right there. You see, I'll do it on purpose. You will burn the wires. If you burn the wires, what do you risk happening? Anybody know?
Short,
A short?
power going out, risk bad connection.
What else do you risk?
I hope you got your power off while you're doing that, but.
You definitely will have your power off.
You risk messing up your waterproof seal.
Yep. You mess up the waterproof seal on it in another spot, and then it makes everything you're doing here with this heat shrink almost not even worth it. Yep, might as well start over, cut that whole piece out. That's why you gotta keep your flame moving. In some cases, that's why I'm saying, unless you've got good flame control with your torch, don't even use your torch. Use a small handheld lighter. And then you always want to come in at the end and check your ends. Make sure that they are nice and sealed tight down on there, and give it plenty of time to just cool down before you just throw it back in. And then there you go, you have a very nice, perfectly sealed wire splice. Any questions?
Comments? So sometimes you're not able to adjust your sleeve, and when you're putting this on there, you don't want it to be right at the edge of where you cut it out at. So what I do sometimes, I use two, and I bring it halfway. Then I bring the other one and bring it halfway across it, and heat them up like that way. That way you can have it overlap, and you can see the glue that comes out. You'll know that it's sealed up good. But sometimes when you put the wires in there, it bends, flex, and you don't want to break the seal.
And that's what he's referring to by just putting another one of those on there.
Always dry fit first, just like you do pipe. Make sure you got your measurement right.
All right, that's it.
Well, that's all, folks.